Hey, so the movie goes like this. The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes. And people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. I threw the script away. I mean, who is going to believe that crazy idea?
All right, guys. So Woody Harrelson has upset the libs, right? He's triggered the libs because he went on SNL, a basically liberal platform, right? A liberal comedy show that's not very funny, and said the quiet part out loud about Big Pharma and the vaccines, right? He said what everybody already knew about Big Pharma and the vaccines and how they basically paid off the media, they paid off the politicians to essentially force people to take the vaccine, which puts money back in their pockets, right? Everybody knows that's exactly what is happening, okay? Despite the fact that, it seems like there was some misadvertisement about what the vaccine actually does or what to expect from the vaccine from the beginning, right? But the politicians are still pushing it, okay? Like it's holy water, right? That is what they're doing. Which again, is fascinating. It's like, why would they do that? Well, we all know why they do that. It's because they're bought and sold like prostitutes. And Woody Harrelson just said the quiet part out loud. Some people call him red pill, but I think what he's saying is just the obvious. He's stating the obvious. But unfortunately, the obvious, aka common sense, is not so common among liberals in 2023 because they're woke, right? They're woke. And for whatever reason, they've now become pro Big Pharma, okay? As they're pissed off at Woody for this monologue. Not, Elon Musk. Elon Musk says good one, right? Elon Musk actually congratulated this joke. He thought it was a good monologue. But this guy Lee Goldberg says, "Thank you NBC SNL for Woody Harrelson's insipid anti-vax monologue. Who are going to have guest hosts next week? Scott Baio, Rob Schneider, Kevin Sorbo. Maybe invite Kanye back while you're at it." This guy, Jerry Houston, says, Woody Harrelson actually admitted to being a drugged out redneck. He physically said so moments before he spouted his anti-vax message, and yet those folk are now frothing at the mouth like he's some expert. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, again, you guys froth at the mouth when Bill Gates comes out and talks about the vaccine, and that guy clearly is not an expert on the vaccine. So I'm just saying it can go both ways, right? We have some other reactions here. Daniel Feinberg says, well, if nothing else, the monologue seems to have made the anti-vaccine crowd in the comments very happy. Yeah, so again, apparently if you tell the truth about what Big Pharma is doing, that makes you anti-vax, right? You can be pro-vax and still say that, hey, Big Pharma has bought and sold the media and politicians to essentially try to incentivize, aka force, right, people to take the vaccine by telling the government to take away their freedoms unless they take the vaccine. Okay, I mean, I think that most people who are paying attention know that that's a true statement, right? That's exactly what's going on here. Stephen L. Miller says, what exactly did they think they were getting with him hosting? Yeah, I mean, again, he's gonna say, stuff like that. I mean, comedians are supposed to say stuff like that, right? Bridget Petsy says, people don't seem to understand Woody Harrelson is what liberals used to be. Woody Harrelson with some 2-year-old obvious truth on SNL. Who thought that Woody Harrelson would ever be red-pilled? Love it. Shame Woody Harrelson will never be in a movie again. He's very funny. Yeah, so again, this is not the first time that Woody has been based about what's going on with Big Pharma. Like, for example, check out this conversation they had with Bill Maher on the subject matter.
Here's the CDC promoting that we have to do all of these things, right? I don't like profiteering in war, Right. Think of the billions of dollars that have gone to Big Pharma. But I was getting back to my original point. The last people I would trust with my health is Big Pharma and Big Government, because neither one of those strike me as caring entities.
Spoken as the perfect redneck hippie. Really, if that message doesn't,
they're all about profit.
Exactly,
they're all about profit,
and both sides know that.
It's obscene the profit they've made.
I think they've done a lot of studies about vitamin D and how important it was when the people who had low levels, they were much more vulnerable to COVID. Why not
Yeah.
tell people that? Can't you make money selling vitamin D? Is it that what's the
Yeah, you can make money selling vitamin D, but just not a lot of it because vitamin D is a supplement, right? And margins for those type of supplements are razor thin. Okay, they're razor thin, right? That market is already saturated. Okay, the players in the game have already made their money. Not to mention, you can literally go outside, right, to get vitamin D, and you won't even need to buy a supplement. Okay, so you can get vitamin D for free. You can't make money, especially big pharma can't make money. The medical industry can't make money. The supplement industry can't make money off something that people can get for free by telling them, hey, go outside and play, right? Go outside, exercise, be active, be healthy. No, you can't make money off that, right? You only can make money off of, basically not telling people to do things that are healthy for them, that will keep them from getting sick so that you can sell them a cure, right? This is why the fat acceptance movement is so accepted among society and in the media, is because they know that these people are basically walking medical / health problems, right? And they can make a whole lot of money off of that, okay? A lot of that money is made from the government, okay? Because corporate socialism is the most rampant form of socialism in this country. For as much as the right complains about socialism, we don't complain about corporate socialism enough, because that is essentially what happened during the COVID pandemic, okay? You had the largest wealth transfer in history happen during the COVID pandemic in the form of some of the COVID stimulus relief, a lot of which went to big corporate America, okay, and a minority of which went to the actual people. Now, the people ended up getting blamed for inflation and all this other stuff when it really was the feds, and a lot of the money actually went to, again, corporate America. But again, you would think that liberals, who historically have been against big pharma, right, and against, propping up corporate America like this, you would think that they would come out against this and they would actually agree with Woody Harrelson. However, they don't, because they've been brainwashed to simply disagree with anything that goes against the mainstream liberal media narrative, right? Again, it's just funny how liberalism has gone full circle, okay? They now support big pharma and big corporations, okay? Now, all of a sudden, the government is not corrupt, right? The government is great. You must believe everything that the government say. Again, you remember when liberalism used to be distrust of the government, right? You remember when that used to be a hallmark of, liberalism, being against the man, right? No, not anymore, okay? Modern day liberalism is worshiping the government, is worshiping big pharma, is worshiping big tech, is worshiping everything that liberals stood against probably, 30 years ago, right? So, again, it's just amazing how politics works. So that being said, this brings us to our next story here, which is kind of related. And this is a I told you so moment, as the Biden administration's energy department is reportedly admitting that COVID-19 likely came from a Chinese lab. That the lab leak theory probably is true. Now, remember, this was classified as fringe. This was a conspiracy, okay? The mainstream liberal media and the left said that you were Alex Jones. You were a crackpot. You were banned from the internet. Okay, if you came out at the beginning of the pandemic, you said, I think this might have come from China, right? You were banned, right? Big tech said, no, you can't be on our platform, right? You are spewing harmful and dangerous information, right? Just for 2.5 years later, the Biden administration, the energy department, to come out and say, well, the conspiracy theories might have been on to something, right? Again, absolutely amazing stuff. So Republicans are upset about this because, again, this is just another example of Republicans saying things, or people on the left saying, people on the right saying things, conservatives saying things that are classified as conspiracies, and then later turns out to be true, right? The conspiracy theories seem to always be right, and the left saying things that at first are taken as fact, and then it turns out that they actually were the ones spreading conspiracies. So it's right here. Congressional Republicans erupted on Twitter Sunday afternoon after the U.S. Energy Department reportedly assessed that the COVID-19 pandemic likely originated from an accidental lab leak in China. Again, that's a duh moment, right? Anybody that's been paying attention knows that probably was the case. We really don't know, but again, that's a plausible explanation, right? What was the first explanation? That it originated in some wet farm, some bat wet farm in China, something like that. Again, that's what they want us to believe is fact, right? But to me, that sounds more like a conspiracy in 2023. The real question is that Fauci funded, right? That's actually the real question. The Energy Department, which was previously undecided on the origin of the pandemic, now joins the FBI stance that the coronavirus likely spread due to a mishap at a Chinese laboratory. The Wall Street Journal reported, citing a classified intelligence report recently provided to the White House and key members of Congress. The lab leak theory, or the theory that the virus came from a lab leak at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in Wuhan, China, was widely dismissed as a conspiracy theory and misinformation by Democrats, major news outlets, scientists, and social media companies in the early stages of the pandemic. Now, remember, the mainstream liberal media and Democrats called Trump racist for calling it the China virus, right? He called it the China virus because it came from China, right? Or he thought it came from China, that is. He believed that it came from China. I mean, again, they weren't even really denying that it probably came from China. They're just like, look, it didn't come from a lab. It came from a bat wet market or something like that. That's what they were saying. But they say it was racist for saying that. Again, amazing. It's just amazing how all this stuff comes full circle. Now Republicans are calling for accountability from the Chinese Communist Party as evidence mounts that it is to blame for the pandemic. Quote, China's lab leak being proven right doesn't matter, said Senator Tom Cotton. Tweeted, what matters is holding the Chinese Communist Party accountable so this doesn't happen again. Well, that's not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen because the Biden administration is bought and sold by China, right? They let air balloons or spy balloons, okay? That's really what it was. Allegedly, that's what it was. He let it fly all over the United States, the whole continent. They let China get as much information as they wanted, okay? This guy is clearly compromised by China. The whole administration is. But the Washington Post and the New York Times had accused Cotton of repeating a fringe theory when he mentioned a lab leak possibility in February 2020. The Post issued a correction to one of its stories more than a year after calling the theory debunked. The Times came under fire last month after a group of 43 national security experts signed a letter accusing the Times, Time Magazine, Lancet, and Nature Medicine of stifling debate on the origins of the virus. Quote, the elites and academics owe everyone who had legitimate questions and concerns about the origin of COVID an apology. Representative Ken Buck, Republican Colorado, tweeted, quote, the American people deserve to see all the information concerning the Chinese lab leak and the origins of COVID. This won't be forgotten. Yeah, so the Chinese possibly, right, are responsible for the whole world shutting down and inflation and all the stuff we went through during the pandemic, okay? The race riots, all that stuff. Because all that stuff really was kind of a product of the pandemic, okay? They're literally responsible for screwing up the world, okay? We live in a whole different world because of that. Quote, 4 clown emojis for Glenn. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas tweeted, taking a shot at Washington Post fact checker Glenn Kessler, who previously said, quote, it is virtually impossible for this virus jump from the lab and attack Cruz. Yeah, again, these guys are treated with, authority, right? These are authoritative sources of information here. Guys like this guy who are always wrong. So the government caught up to what real America knew all along, tweeted Representative Jim Jordan. Americans knew this from day one, tweeted Representative Andy Biggs. Unfortunately, big tech and big government silenced them. Again, this is the problem. This is the problem with government censorship. Again, liberals don't understand. They don't see this stuff, okay? They're probably still going to go along with it. They're probably still going to say it's a conspiracy theory just so that they don't have to admit that they're wrong. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican Missouri, tweeted, quote, the American people deserve the full truth about COVID origins. No more whitewash. I will again introduce legislation to make the U.S. government's intelligence reports on COVID open to the people. Eric Schmidt says, Fauci knew this immediately but dismissed it because of funding for the Wuhan lab. We know what happened next. When Fauci spoke, big tech censored. I exposed this collusion as AG and will work to ensure this type of censorship never happens again. Right. This is what they say. Again, Republicans are talking tough on it. But again, what are they actually really going to do? We really don't know. But again, this is the news. Okay. They're actually admitting that the conspiracy theories were true, right? That Alex Joneses of the world weren't all that far off when it came to the origins of the virus. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.